Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's the guy who serves up the podcast like Ron Clark serving up the rice. I am Rob's sister, Nino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. We've got a good one for you today because I'm very excited to have with me here in the studio once again. I did the research on this. This is actually her fourth time here with us in the studio. The great two-time survivor. Here she is, Peih-Gee Law. Peih-Gee, how are you?
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me back. Hi, RHAP. Thanks for listening.
Yes, Peih-Gee. So excited to have you here with us in the studio again. And very excited to get into it. I think this is 3 seasons in a row back-to-back.
Yes. The first time I'm on here where there are no Asians.
Yes, you did it. We broke the good. That's the good news and bad news about breaking the curse.
Well, the one time I finally come on and do an episode post-merge.
Yes.
Is the one time there's no Asian contestants to be voted off.
This is also the first time that we have you here post-merge also.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that we've done, going back and look, I think it was like episode 2, 4, and 6. Also, I think the first time that you're podcasting an odd-numbered episode of the season. So we're breaking the mold, Peih-Gee.
Oh, all right. Well, that's... We'll see. I'm going to have to just keep doing post-merge and just go later and later, especially if there's an Asian contestant.
Yes. Okay. All right. So very excited to have you here. Busy week on the podcast. Last night I had Angelina on the Survivor Know-It-Alls, filling in for Stephen Fishback, who is recovering from shoulder surgery.
I saw that. I love Angelina. How was she?
She did a great job filling in for Stephen Fishback. We didn't miss a beat. A lot of people said a big improvement over Stephen Fishback. So some people feel like Stephen Fishback has lost a step.
Well, I feel like if you're going to have a know-it-all, Angelina's a pretty good pick for that.
She's good. Yeah, because she was in good spirits. I thought she did an excellent job with everything. And then, of course, we're joking around. Stephen Fishback will be back with us next week. He's actually been very much on point with a lot of his assessments as he's been dying to come back on and gloat about how War Dog shouldn't have made a move. Those other people shouldn't have flipped. Nobody should ever do anything because then it goes wrong. Only one person can win.
It's all about the big moves. Everybody's got to have a resume,
Gotta have a resume. You got to. And then Nick Majorano is going to be here for our feedback show in the studio with me as well tomorrow. So excited for that. And then AJ Mass on This Week in Survivor. And then we'll get back to Josh and the Wiggle Room coming up. But how are you doing, Peih-Gee?
I'm doing great. I just came back from like a 3-day holiday up at Max's place.
You were on spring break at Max's house.
Which is like 10 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
Max just got a new puppy. He was like, you have to talk about him on the podcast. I was like, I will. Her.
What that I've seen the pictures of it. What type of breed is that?
She's a golden doodle.
Golden doodle.
Yeah,
okay.
But like the medium sized one. Oh, it's so adorable. She's like a little wind up toy.
Yeah, Stephen Fishback loves golden retrievers. I don't know about golden doodles.
The golden doodle looks just like Max. I get confused sometimes. I'm like, it's Max's beard.
Right. The dog could be an extension of the beard.
It's like the Gremlins. Like if you got his beard wet and then like it just started like multiplying and reproducing.
Yeah,
that's what this puppy looks like.
Yes. Okay. And so Peih-Gee is here, ready to talk about everything. You have studied the season in a binge mode.
Yes, so
Correct?
that was so I watched almost all of it in like an 8-hour chunk while I was up in Topanga because I don't have cable and I have it's hard for me to like get access to them.
Mm-hmm.
So and plus like I've been traveling. That's part of the reason why I couldn't come in until now. I've been traveling around Europe. I got to see Notre Dame Cathedral before.
I saw on your Twitter.
Caught on fire. So I had to catch up last night. So it's all relatively fresh, but also slightly a blur.
So you've watched the whole season in the last 24 hours?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you might be fresher than anybody on all of this.
Oh, but it was like one big episode. Sometimes it gets, and there's no commercial breaks. I don't know. It gets
with the edge of extinction. So let's see how it all ends up playing. So let's I guess what's your big picture on the season? Did you like this season?
It's really tough because it's following on the heels of what I think is one of the best seasons ever filmed. Like, I loved David and Goliath, but this season has been good. I think it had a slightly slow start, but now, you're kind of really getting to see the other people. I see the strategies emerge a little bit. I wasn't sure how I felt about Edge of Extinction. I don't hate the concept now that I've kind of seen what it means and how much screen time they're actually devoting to it, which, it's like it takes away from the regular gameplay, but it is interesting to watch. Oh, you know what I really like about Edge of Extinction?
What's that?
It's like a giant escape room.
Yes. I know you love escape rooms.
I'm obsessed with escape rooms. And, and I'm watching this and I'm like, I know some of these challenges. I have a friend that works on challenges. I'm like, this has his touch. I feel like it has his touch all over it.
You have a friend who works in the challenge department.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, that you are a big fan of the escape rooms. We keep saying that we're going to do an escape room someday.
Anytime.
I'm not great at the escape room.
No, you would be good at it. It's all puzzles.
I'm okay at it. I think that my best skill set in there is I think I'm sort of like I look at it sort of like, okay, let's stay organized. Everybody's doing everything. I'm like, all right, what do you have over there? Okay, what do you have over there? Try to keep all of try to manage the team.
Yeah, well, we need a conductor. That's good. Someone to keep everyone focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the part I liked.
What do you have a key? Does anybody have a lock?
There's a map. You got to fold it in the right way. Like you can go find a secret advantage. Yeah.
So you would excel on the Edge of Extinction.
I would kill it out there. Are you kidding me? And I like the camping out part. That's actually one of my favorite parts of Survivor.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I was like the jungle queen on my first season.
Yeah. Okay. So you enjoy that aspect of the Edge of Extinction. Let's then take a look at last night where War Dog ends up going home. Did you think that War Dog was somebody that was a potential winner in your mind?
I didn't think War Dog could win based on the edit that he'd been getting. You knew that he was kind of a big player that goes deep, but they're showing a lot of like his social blunders. I think he's a really good strategist. I think he's a great character for Survivor. Like he's larger than life. He's interesting. He's dynamic. He shakes things up, and he's kind of surprisingly gotten his way a lot of the time, but they show that he's really chafing at some people, and they show a lot of people talking about him. So I just felt like I don't know. So
you played in Survivor Second Chances with Kelly Wentworth. You guys were both started on the Takeo tribe.
I spent like 6 days.
You spent 6 days with her, so you're a certified expert. That's 3 days longer than Reem spent with her, and Reem certainly has a strong opinion about Kelly Wentworth. So you were there on the beach with her when she was finding an idol. Okay, so what did you make of Kelly's run this season?
I thought Kelly did really well considering the position that she had been in, always at the bottom. Poor Kelly, I feel like I relate to this because I feel like I'm always on the losing tribe. Every season I've played, I think I've gone to almost every single tribal council of both seasons, for the time that I've been on, except for maybe like twice. And I feel like Kelly's constantly like on like the losing tribe. And so, going into the merge and things like that, like it hasn't always been easy. And it's even harder when you're a returning player. You have a big target on your back, right?
What do you think of the approach that Kelly came in with for this season, now that you watched her from the very start of the season through ultimately her going out in the last episode?
Well, what did she say? Did she have like a mantra of like...
Well, she talked about, I talked to Spencer earlier this season. He felt like that she really was borrowing from, okay, I'm going to make better connections this time around, and I'm going to really work on my social game with people for this time out.
Gosh. I mean, I feel like she had some good connections, but it's also... like in the early game, like all David Wright could talk about was how much he wanted to vote her off. And you'd think, if anything, they should be allies, you know?
Right.
And I don't know if that's, and he might have the right idea. It's probably, if people see that two returning players are kind of chummy and buddy-buddy, that makes you really dangerous. That puts a bigger target on both of you together.
Right.
So I think he has the right idea.
But it would be great if that was like the plan of like, okay, let's make everybody think we're going after each other, but really let's work together. It seemed like at no point was their plan actually to try to work with each other.
Yeah, I think that they just didn't really, you could tell they didn't really trust each other. And that whenever they did work together, it was pretty much out of desperation.
Yeah. Tell me about these other returning players. Do you have any friendships with anybody else that came back from the season? David or Aubrey or even Joe?
I've hung out with all of them. I've actually, it's funny because I played with Kelly, but I've actually hung out with those three probably more than I have hung out with Kelly.
The other three are the three that are more likely to be seen around Los Angeles, where David and Aubrey live here now.
Yes.
Joe, a frequent visitor, and Kelly, rarely in Los Angeles.
Yes, that's basically why.
Or if she's here with it, she's not on social media hanging out with survivors.
Yeah. So I've seen these other guys around the scene and stuff like that. So I'm friendly with all of them. Yeah.
Okay. Who of the other returnees surprised you in any way, good or bad, this season?
I feel like everybody has played very true to form. Like Joe, Joey Amazing, like pretty much got through just based on him never having to go to tribal council. And then of course the first one that he goes to, he gets voted out. David, again, I think he's a really smart and savvy player. He's really personable. He's easy to like. He's one of those people, I think, that he doesn't necessarily come off as a super big threat necessarily, because he's really kind of a little bit goofy, and smiley, and he's good at including you and things. So I think he's been pretty good. Aubrey, I didn't watch her first season. I thought she came off. One of my favorite parts of the season has been that whole montage of her approaching everybody with the exact same cell.
You like that?
It was amazing. It was the funniest bit of editing.
What did you feel like that it was just good TV, or you felt like that you could relate to experiencing that on Survivor?
I could relate to it. I feel like her approach to making alliances is like how I am on dating apps. I have the same canned lines, the same introductions.
What's the canned line?
Oh man.
Can you give us your opener?
I will. So,
okay.
I'm on this one app that's you give little snippets.
It's
and
not
stories.
Ship, is it?
No.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll tell you about that later.
I've never even heard of that one.
Okay, well, it's everybody's on it, Peih-Gee.
So they asked for your travel story, and mine is about the time that I was accused of being a spy in Laos, and I barely made it out.
I had a bunch of friends who went to Laos, and a couple of them didn't make it out. Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. So what happened? So you went to Laos, and they thought you were a spy?
It's not a long story, but I mean I can tell it if you want. It's kind of a funny story, but
yeah, I mean that's a good open. They say that you want to then have some interesting story, and then people want to hear more.
Yeah. So that's how it goes. I just kind of give a teaser, I was accused of being a spy in Laos, and it's like
hit me back if you want to hear the rest of the story.
Well, most guys are like, "What is this story?" And I'm like, "Well, it's best told over cold beer."
Okay.
So that's
right.
my
a lot of people do this in their Survivor application also. Hey, remind me to tell you about the time that I went streaking and got busted by campus police. Call me if you want to hear the details.
I think getting accused of being a spy in Laos is a little
sure.
better than streaking
yes. I'm just telling you that's something that people do on their Survivor applications, and I feel like it's something that they don't love it when you do that on the Survivor application.
No, I don't even know if I told. Did I? I don't think I even told that story when I auditioned.
Yeah. Can you tell us about it, or is that only for guys that are gonna find you on?
I'll tell you, but if this ruins my opener,
yes.
nobody ever asked me about the story anymore because they've heard it on Ron's podcast.
Yeah, if there was a guy that you were gonna message on the dating app and he's listening to you on the podcast, this is already an in.
All right. So basically, I was traveling through Southeast Asia in my 20s. And we flew in, and it's one of those countries where typically you get a visa upon arrival. You don't need one to, beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we fly in, and we land, and I come out, and I'm looking for immigration. And immigration is basically a podium. There's no walls. There's nothing. It's literally just a podium in the middle of the airport, and that says immigration. And there's nobody there. And I'm like, okay, like, I waited there for like 20 minutes. There's no one there. So I'm like, maybe there's another area. So I keep going. The luggage is out. So I'm like, okay, I collect my luggage. Before I know it, I'm outside of the airport. And I'm like, well, okay. And it's kind of late at this point. It's like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I'm like, whatever, just, maybe I don't need one. So we hail a taxi. And we get in, and I show him the address of the hotel I'm trying to get to. He drives around for about half an hour. We're deep into the city at this point now. And he stops the taxi, and he turns to me, and he goes, I don't know where it is. And so I get out my little guidebook with the map. He's like, oh, well, this is a map of Lang Prabang, where everyone was in the Amazing Race last night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I know. He goes, you're not in Lang Prabang. You're in Vang Vian. It was some other city.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, how is that possible? So it turns out apparently maybe there was a connecting flight, but I didn't know, like, and nobody told us, and there was no English. Mm-hmm. So we're in the wrong city. It's like an 8-hour trip by bus. It's about another hour by flight. And I'm like, no problem. Like, I've got time. Like, I'm like, we'll just explore this city, and I'll make my way to that city where I'm flying out of eventually anyway, Mm-hmm. Fine. I have like about 4 or 5 days holiday. It's fantastic, and we get to the airport. Oh, this is, I'm so dumb. Can I talk about
Sure. I mean that you had a 420 inspired post the other day on, this is a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. It is now legal in California.
Yes.
So I feel like
yes.
there's no whatever. So anyway, I've been running around this country in my 20s in Laos, and we're, toking it up. And I've got a giant bag, and I'm like, well, I don't want to waste this before I get on my flight back to Thailand.
Yeah.
Where I'm trying to make a connecting flight to get back to LA. So we smoke all the rest of it. I don't know why I think this is a good idea, but I do.
Okay.
And so, high as a kite, roll into the airport, and they're like, where's your entry visa?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a funny story about why I'm in here.
I'll meet you over a cold beer and tell it to you.
With no entry visa. And I'm just, I can barely process this.
Right.
I've got like the glasses on because I know them, and they're like, ma'am, can you take your glasses off, please? Mm-hmm. And so I explained the whole story of how stupid I am, and so eventually they call me into like the side room. There's like 5 people in there in like their official uniforms, like these military uniforms. And they're like, how do we know you're not a spy? Like, where did you come from? We have no record of you coming in. We don't know how long you've been in this country. Like, and I'm like, you can see all the stamps where I left the other countries I was from, Eventually they write out this whole sheet of paper. It's handwritten. It's this long. And they're like, you sign. And I'm like, I don't read Laotian. Like, I mean, maybe I didn't take a crash course like like they did on Amazing Race. So I'm like, I don't read it. I'm not going to sign this. I'm like, I've watched Broke Down Palace. I know how these things go. And eventually they're like, well, if you're not going to sign it, you have to go back to the Capitol and go to the embassy there. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I sign it, but I'm like, I write down, I'm like, I'm signing this under duress. I do not understand Laotian. I cannot read. I don't know what's on this paper. Like, I'm trying to cover all of my bases here. And eventually that it was fine. Like, and I had to give them $400.
Okay.
A fine.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Peih-Gee, I'm happy that you made it through.
It out alive.
You made it through, and you got here safe and sound today. No problems. Okay. PG, let's talk about this latest episode of Survivor where we had War Dog voted out. And I talked this through a little bit with Angelina last night, but I don't really know who to give credit for in terms of this round of voting, because we had 6 votes going against War Dog, and then 2 votes went against Aurora. But watching the episode, I was almost 100% sure Aurora was going home, because I felt like that we didn't see enough of people talking to, like, what is the plan to get out War Dog? And maybe sometimes it's so obvious that they just don't show it to us. But I don't know how this vote came together.
Well, I mean, we did see a lot of Gavin going around kind of bitching about War Dog.
Right.
Did we see him going around rallying votes against him, though?
No, we did not.
Okay, so I guess that's why it gets a little confusing, because you got a general sentiment that the tides had kind of turned against him a little bit. Gavin's going around kind of bitching about how he didn't appreciate being barked at,
Doesn't like being talked to like a dog.
Yeah.
Now, he's a war dog, but he also talks to you like a dog.
I mean, what did you expect, really?
Yeah.
He's going to come barking at you.
Boy, I really don't like it when that guy named War Dog barks at me. Well, look, I mean, he kind of like...
He kind of put it out there already.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah, and then, I guess what else? I'm trying to think of what else we saw. We saw Ron talking to Devins. Well, Devins and War Dog, and, but then you could see that, like I guess they took pains to show that Ron wasn't all on board this, we're the threats, we have to stick together. Who else threw out the idea of War Dog? I'm just trying to think.
So Julie was also another person who was really pushing War Dog. And Lauren was saying, no, we got to get out Devins. And then it seemed like that once Devins won immunity, Lauren's initial reaction was, all right, I guess we need to just vote out Aurora. And then Julie was pushing Lauren to go ahead and do it. We saw Lauren in confessional talk about how she has to now take matters into her own hands in the game. But it's just that if we're going to say who was the person that put this all together, in the same way that we saw the previous week, War Dog says, okay, for this round, and then I got a 30-second conversation, and we're going to vote out the only returning player, Kelly Wentworth. And that we said, okay, that was War Dog's idea. I don't know whose idea this was.
It's interesting that the editors decided not to give us, like, a main... mastermind behind it. Yeah.
And I was texting with Hannah, who was filling in with for Stephen Fishback on the People blog, and she didn't know who to give a fishy to.
For this episode, maybe Devins.
Devins, why? Because he just saved himself?
He saved himself, I guess.
Yeah, he won immunity. I don't know if he knew that he was going to necessarily go home, but yeah, it was weird in terms of the structure of this, and I didn't like it from Ron's perspective, because I kind of feel like that he is now very much like, if he doesn't go before Rick Devins, I feel like he goes right after Rick Devins.
I thought Ron got a really good edit this.
He's in the middle of everything. He's in the middle of everything. And I saw, our own Taryn Armstrong had tweeted something along the lines of Ron was, drunk with power. Then he was humbled. And now he's back to being drunk with power again.
He was hungover.
Yes.
And then recovered and went out on a binge.
He was like,
again.
I'm never drinking again. I'm never gonna have another sip of alcohol as long as I live. And then it's like, what time's happy hour? Yeah.
Exactly.
He was right back to being, I'm in the middle of everything.
Well, and what I really liked was the contrast where they immediately showed Gavin and War Dog's conversation of being left out of the loop, and that obviously didn't go very well. And he's like, well, clearly you weren't trustworthy. That's why we couldn't tell you. We couldn't tell you. And Gavin left feeling very offended. And then right away they showed Ron and Julie having the exact same conversation. Totally different type of conversation.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was really, really surprised at how calmly Julie took everything, because she seems to be super emotional and paranoid, like all these episodes before, and all of a sudden she's like, well, I understand why you couldn't trust me with it. Like, it's totally cool. I'm not paranoid about this at all. Like, what?
All right, can you give me your best guess? What is that? Is it that now she had never been blindsided before in the game, and then she was blindsided, and now she's kind of used to it? Or is it different because it was Ron, somebody who she already had, in sort of like the idea of like the emotional bank account where he had a lot of goodwill built up with her, and so he could take a withdrawal in terms of voting a different way from her. It wasn't like one of her super tight allies ended up going out of the game with Kelly Wentworth as opposed to Eric last time. Why do you think that she took it so well?
That's exactly the comment that I made last night when I was watching. I said, wow, Ron has so much social credit with her.
Yes.
Like, it was incredible, the way he played it. And she was like, I trust you so much that she's like, I think you made the right decision for us. It was good that we don't vote together all the time. Like,
He's like, it is? Yeah, like, yes,
yeah,
of course. Yes, this was good.
That was my thinking all along. She strikes me as someone who just, like, she talks so much about how much she misses her husband and her family, and I think she really kind of needed a surrogate, like, partner and someone to be like, I trust you 100%. I know you have my back. And she's like, I have to believe that with every fiber of my being, or I'll lose my goddamn mind out here. And I think that, he's been really good at inserting himself into that. And then he followed up by talking about that advantage that he had, which was
with Aurora.
Very smart.
Yes.
Now she feels included again.
That's good when you tell other people somebody else's secrets.
Exactly.
That's good. That's good. It's not as good when you tell other people your secrets, but very good to tell other people's secrets.
Yeah, and she's back in the loop. She feels good, and he was brilliant. I thought it was a really good episode for Ron.
Okay, but I can't help but feel like that we've identified who all the threats are. He has been identified as one of the threats that are out there. We're down to 7 people, and 7 people, that's a great time to get rid of a threat.
Yes.
And because that's when you guys were able to get rid of James in China, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so this is a good spot as any to get rid of one of the big threats in the game. And this is like a really unique game. And I also think that it's a unique time and place in Survivor where there's these two things happening at once where that everybody's like, I need to have a resume. I can't win the game unless I have big moves. And then as soon as somebody then has this resume that they say, okay, well, now I can finally win. Now it's time to get rid of that person because they have a resume. So the only way to win the game is now to not have a resume. We've come full circle. The only way to stay safe is to not have a resume.
That might be the case. Or have gotten voted out, go to the edge of extinction.
And then come back. Have the best resume.
Make friends with everyone.
And then come back and say, I'm the only one that had a resume.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but we voted you out 2 times. So I'm like, well, okay, well.
Do you think it's important to have a resume to win? Nowadays?
I don't. I did a podcast this week where I talked to somebody named Todd Garner. He's a producer. He's friends with Jeff. He has a podcast on Podcast One. He's a big Survivor fan. We were talking about this, and he was asking me about this. And I really do feel like that the jury will always vote for the person that they like the best. And then if they like both people, okay, now let's talk about resume, or they hate both people, let's talk about a resume. And you were there when maybe the most famous final tribal council performance happened with Todd in China, and people like he got John Robert to vote for him. But even still, like I don't think that John Robert particularly liked anybody there, right? The final 3?
Oh, John Robert was prepared to vote against him, and he worked him like a master.
But he had no fondness for Courtney, and was John Robert fond of Amanda, or he was at best neutral?
I think he probably would have been the most. I think he probably went in there thinking he'd vote for Amanda. Is my best guess.
But it wasn't like that. Him and Amanda were great friends.
No, he probably just thought she was hot, so I'll vote for her. I don't know, like.
Yeah, and then Todd buttered him up, and that was enough to get him off of whoever he was going to vote for to Todd. But if he had like a great friend that was on there, like if James was in the final 3, then I don't think it matters what Todd says.
That probably is true. I mean, and I'll give you this too. Like, I went in there I went into that final tribal like for sure I'm going to vote for Todd. Todd's winning, and I was like maybe Amanda, maybe Todd. I don't know. We'll see what they have to say. They'll reveal all. And I had throughout the entire game, 36 days, I was like, Courtney's getting dragged to the end because everyone knows she's not going to win. She hasn't done anything but sit around and complain. And we get in there, and Courtney actually had such a good final tribal, and she was really, her whole argument was like most improved. She's like, look at me, you thought I wouldn't be anywhere, but guess what? Like, my strategy got me to the end. She's like, I had to play to my strengths, and I know I'm weak, or I know I don't know the game, so my strength was to stick to somebody who knew it, and it got me here ahead of all of you, and it was such a good, compelling argument.
Did you vote for Courtney or you voted for Todd?
I voted for Todd. I was this close to voting for Courtney. I couldn't even believe it, and I hated her gameplay the whole time because I'm like, oh, you don't deserve to be here. Like, I had to work for everything. You just clung on to Todd and rode him to the, but.
And was Todd the person that you had the best relationship with also?
Yes, I had a very good relationship with Amanda, but only
at the end,
towards
right?
The end.
Yes. Yeah, there was the one day that they left you guys alone together, and you guys bonded.
Yes, but Todd was always very good about kind of letting you know that he was a little bit in charge without seeming like a big threat because he's not winning a bunch of challenges. But like I said, he'd come up to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you get as far as I can." Like he was good at that kind of things, making you feel like he had clout and. Then you start to see, oh, this guy has influence. Maybe he is the one that's been behind some things that maybe you don't know about,
So what do you think about this idea of the players being super vocal at these tribal councils about, hey, I was the person that got Kelly out of the game, and I was the person that put this move together, like really like, pounding your chest about the moves that you made, where then it also increases your threat level.
It increases the threat level, and I feel like it makes the players who've been voted out by you a little bit resentful sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's fun to watch blindsides. It's fun when you're not on the receiving end of it, but it's kind of, you don't want them to pound their chest about how amazing they were that they got you out. You want to hear like, you were so incredible that I had to get you out, and like I knew you were so smart that I had to blindside you. And
Todd said to John Rivera.
Yeah, I feel like that's really the smart move. It's not about my resume, but it's about like, oh, I had to do it because you were such a threat. Like that's really the right way to go.
Yeah, I was really surprised in the episode where War Dog then split the credit with, and I guess then the blame with Ron, and then Ron then did embrace that where War Dog pointed it out. And he said that, yes, he was also the other person that helped get rid of Kelly Wentworth.
I was surprised because I felt like that showed a little bit of inspiration on War Dog's part because the whole rest of the episode, we saw him going, well, I'm the biggest threat out here. They're dumb if they don't vote me out, and then, but at least he's kind of smart enough, I guess, to not say that out loud at Final Tribal. But I mean, a little too little too late. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Do you see somebody that's in the game right now that you feel like has like an inside track on this thing?
That's likely to win, you mean?
Yeah.
Of the people.
Or that you would feel good about saying that I think this person has a really good shot to win. Because in my mind, I think this is like the most wide open season that I can remember podcasting about. I don't know how this is going to work out.
No, I don't think everybody has an equal chance of winning.
Not that everybody has an equal chance of winning, but who are the favorites?
To win?
Yeah.
I think Rick has a decent chance if he gets to the end. He's got a good enough resume. I think he's got some good relationships. He's gotten himself out of it.
But the hard part is, for me, seeing him figure out a way to get to the end.
He does have a
He
target.
doesn't have an ally in the game.
That's true.
I mean, we're at Final 7, and, he's still 3 votes away from the fire making.
Yeah.
I think that Angelina was saying this last night, that maybe his best path is that he gets voted out next and then comes back for a couple of votes. That I don't know how necessarily. I think he would do well with the jury, but I don't know how he necessarily gets there.
I don't think he gets in when you look at who else he's going to be competing against now on Edge of Extinction,
and he's been good at the challenges, but it's hard to see him beating. He beat Chris, but Chris had a handicap, with all due respect to Rick Devens. But who knows?
Well, there's who else is left who's on Edge now? There's like Joe.
Like that competition that we saw Aubrey practicing, I don't feel like that was really in Rick Devens' wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, he's got Joe. He's got
Joe,
Dave,
Eric,
Wentworth.
Aubrey's been practicing. Kelly Wentworth. Yeah.
Yes. Like there's the people he was going against earlier in the first challenge are not maybe of the same caliber. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think Rick could win the jury vote. Then who?
Gosh.
Do you think it will be an Edge of Extinction person?
It's possible. I mean, it's just so weird the way that plays out because it's a different dynamic when you're out there, right? Like you are maybe not. You're able to be a little bit more authentic and be yourself because you don't know who is or isn't. I don't think they're out there playing the game still. They're kind of just being themselves and bonding and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And then those are the same people that would they're the jury. So they're the ones that are going to vote you to get back in. So it's hard to say. I think whoever does get back from Edge of Extinction probably has the best chance to win, actually.
I really do think that they have a good shot at it. And I think that, Devens has that he was already there. He can say, I know what it was like to be you guys. And then the person who was there, it does seem like Aubrey said earlier in the season she doesn't like Kumbaya Survivor. But I feel like that the Edge of Extinction is mostly turning into that.
Yeah. And, so, you might not like it and it's not as much fun, but you still can't discount those bonds that you will form out there, I think.
So when we saw then when Reem was confronting Kelly about being voted off, as a Survivor alumni, could you relate to either side of that conversation where then somebody is reunited with somebody else who took them out of the game?
Oh, man. I know. I feel like everyone loves Reem and I can't.
You don't like her?
I don't like anyone who's trying to mom people. I really don't like that. Like, I'm not a fan of it.
Screw you, dude.
Especially if they're going to abrasively do it. I don't like I really didn't like her coming at Wentworth going, you ruined my game. And I'm like, when you get voted out, it's because you ruined your own game. It's never someone else's fault. That's their job to vote you out. Your job is to stay in the game. So if you lost, it's on you. Like, that drives me crazy when people blame other people for messing up their game.
Yeah. So you, as a person who went deeper into the game the first time you played, because we're similar, where we both have one time that went well and one time that didn't go so great.
Yeah.
So were you ever the recipient of that type of confrontation from another Survivor player?
You vote that.
Were you on the receiving end of, dude, you ruined my Survivor experience. You're so lame. I'm like, what took them so long to vote you out?
No, I think luckily, like, in my first season, actually, I will say in my first season, I don't think I really had much of a hand in voting anyone out, so it was never really on. It was never really on me,
Dave Cruiser never confronted you after the season?
Oh, I saw Dave Cruiser for like 5 minutes at the reunion, and that was enough Dave Cruiser for me for the rest of my life.
That was it. Chicken never got on your case?
No, never.
But how great would the Edge of Extinction have been in China, where Chicken could have been the person welcoming everybody to? He would have built a shelter finally at the Edge of Extinction.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean, like, now's your chance to prove your case. I mean, I was shocked that Chris was going out and getting food and sharing it with everybody. At that point, I would have been like, screw you guys. There's only one of us.
Screw you, dudes.
There's only one of us getting back in this game. Why should I bother feeding you? Because, and I guess at that point, like, you, especially that early on, you don't know that they're going to come back and be on the jury. I really thought once they, once that one person got voted back, all those people would have left. So I would have figured, like, I'm just going to get myself strong so I can win this competition and get back in.
Yeah, they're looking at it like they are their own tribe.
Yeah, and sharing your map clues and pointing out where the advantages are. That it's not even this episode. I'm like, I would just watch all of it. But I couldn't believe when Reem went off on Chris about how he was like, dude, you gave the advantage away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, why did she go off on Chris and not on
Keith,
who actually took it?
Yeah. She's like, dude, do you think I have stupid written on my forehead? Yeah. But any other standouts for you from early in the season that's not currently active in the game right now? From the early era episodes.
Oh man, I mean, I can't stand.
It's a blur.
I can't stand Wendy.
Wendy. Oh, you didn't like Wendy?
No. Oh my god. Like,
because she let the chickens out.
She let the chickens out. Like, unforgivable to me. Absolutely unforgivable. I don't care if you're vegan, if you own the world's largest chicken farm. Like,
yes.
I'm not, first of all, I'm not into people who love the chickens. Like, voting them out.
Yes. Okay. So.
But it's when you're in that type of situation and people are like starving out there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you eat a chicken, and I love animals, and I've done the vegan thing before, but I think that
you love spiders.
I don't love spiders.
So you said you love animals.
I don't know if spiders count.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hear you. I hear you on that, Peih-Gee.
So that drove me nuts. The whole attitude of it. Like, I like people who are like, I am here to win this thing. I don't want someone who's going to come in and say like, why am I going to be upset about voting out? All I wanted was to just get on. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, that attitude drives me crazy.
Do you feel like it was a missed opportunity to not have the edge of extinction on second chances?
Yes, obviously.
Yes.
Like, yes, I wish they had it on every single one of my seasons.
Yeah. But, it's sort of like it was second chances, but then is that third chances? It sort of throws things off. When I played in Survivor All-Stars that we had just left right after the Outcast thing had happened on Survivor Pearl Islands, and Jeff was very quick to say, like, up front, like the first time they brought like the whole cast out, like, just so you guys know that that we had Outcast in the last season. We're not doing it. We're definitely not doing it. Like, this is your second chance, and that's it.
Yeah, well, because also the way they had done it, I think it was very unfair. I think the way they've done it this time is maybe more fair. I don't know how to say it. I mean, I do miss the original format. I like this. I like the fact that as a contestant, you get really the full experience. It's not just after you're done. It's a free vacation. It's, I guess, knowing, and do you think it changes how people play knowing that they will have another chance after they get voted out too? Maybe they're
I do think that in this post-merge game, I think that people have started playing like real loosey-goosey and are taking big swings in the fact that they feel like, well, look, worst comes to worst, I'll just go to the edge of extinction.
Yeah, there's it's not the end of the line.
Yeah. If it works, then I'll have a great thing on my resume. If it doesn't work, I can say I tried something, I wasn't a goat, and then I'll go to the edge of extinction.
Yeah, I feel like it's in that sense, it's good because maybe people are more willing to try things, even though I feel like we haven't really seen a lot of it yet from a lot of people. We've seen big moves from people that we've already seen making big moves.
Yeah, and for that reason, and again, I don't know if they've put this all together, but I kind of feel like that this is a reason why I think we're going to see more Edge of Extinction in the future, because I think it makes players be more aggressive and ambitious.
I hope so.
Because they're not as scared.
Yeah, but, to be honest, some of these people, I feel like I don't see someone like Lauren really going out and engineering a big move on her own, regardless of whether or not she has that safety net. I don't know. Like, she seems, I know that she's like, oh, we should do this, but she really seems a little bit lost without Kelly or someone else.
Well, she came into her own last night. I feel like that after last night's episode, I feel like it's the first time that we can start to talk about her as somebody who could potentially win, where I kind of felt like that best case scenario for her was that she was somebody that would just get 0 votes behind Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, she's been kind of forced in this situation. It was much more exciting last season when we saw Gabby actively turning on her partner,
right.
And Lauren is really, her partner was voted out against her wishes, and so she has no choice but to start trying to come into her own. So I feel like it's less exciting in this way, but granted, she is now like a free agent, so it's interesting to see like in the next few episodes like what she does with it.
Do you have a favorite person to watch of the people that are left in the game?
Of the people that are left, I like Devins. I think he's quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Aurora.
Yes.
Because I relate to her a lot. Like I feel like
How so?
Well, she's kind of underdog in some ways. Like I feel like she doesn't feel like she really has a set alliance. She always seems really unhappy because it's always been a struggle. Like I get that, but yet every time when I'm watching her in these challenges, like it gives me chills. Like she's just got this determination, like she wants it and she's winning it, and I really I love watching that in people.
Yeah. What about Victoria?
Victoria had a couple really good episodes. I love Victoria. I think she's the most adorable thing ever. She's like a little cartoon character. She's so pretty.
Yes.
And she was so good. There was that one episode where she was playing Kelly. Was it
Aubrey?
It was Aubrey. Yes.
Yeah.
It was such a good episode. And she came up with, she's like, hey guys, I'm going to sell this all girls alliance to Aubrey. And she totally sold her like the Brooklyn Bridge, like, everything. And she was so good and so ruthless about it. And I was like, ooh, like, let's see what, happens with this one.
Yeah.
I wish we would have seen more of that coming up. Like I thought it was going to be more.
Well, somehow she's voted the right way every single vote. She's the only person.
She's been good. It's just been a little bit quiet. Her edit has been very quiet.
Yeah, and I don't know if you could win being quiet in Survivor 38. I think you could win being quiet in Survivor 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think you can win that way and win in a final 2. But I kind of think that we're now in a final 3, which starts with a final 4. I think that with everybody in the jury gets to then, pepper you with questions about, but what did you do? Then I do think that Victoria has a tough road ahead of her.
Yeah, so I really want to like her. I think she seems like a bit of a firecracker. I think she seems really devious, but we'll have to see her kind of emerge a little bit more as a character.
Okay. We have a lot of fun things still left to do. We're going to get into questions with Peih-Gee and more. But first, let me take a moment and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. And those are our friends over at Rothy's. And now, Peih-Gee, you know a thing or two about fashion.
A little bit.
Well, let me tell you about Rothy's, because Rothy's is the company that is making stylish shoes for women and girls out of recycled plastic water bottles, and they're insanely comfortable and machine washable. Not bad, right?
I love that.
So far, so good. They are stylish, sustainable, comfortable, and washable. Really, all in one pair of shoes. They're the perfect flats for life on the go. The everyday flats for life on the go. Stylish, versatile. They go with everything from yoga pants to dresses and skirts. Comes in a wide variety of colors and patterns. They're available in 4 different silhouettes. Plus, they're constantly launching new styles, so you're guaranteed to find a pair or 3 that you love. Rothy's are seamlessly crafted from recycled water bottles, so they're ultra comfortable. As soon as you slip them on, there's a 0 break-in period with these shoes. It's going to blow your mind that they're made from plastic water bottles that are recycled. In fact, Rothy's has diverted over 25 million water bottles from landfills. They're machine washable, and Rothy's are manufactured in a zero-waste factory, and they ship directly in a shoebox with no unnecessary packaging. These are the feel-good flats in more ways than one. So right now, Rothy's has an amazing deal for our listeners. Use promo code ROB to get free shipping with no minimum, free shipping, and free returns and exchanges on your Rothy's shoes. Trust me, you won't need to return them. Go to rothys.com. That's ROTHYS.com. Enter Rob to get your new favorite flats and free shipping. Once you try shoes that are comfortable, stylish, and sustainable, you're never going to wear anything else. Head to rothys.com to claim this offer with the promo code ROB. There you go. All right. Let's talk about some questions. And Peih-Gee, we have questions from the members of the Rob is a Podcast patron Facebook group. And then we have something new that we're going to try. You have questions from Twitter that you have pulled. We'll take questions from Twitter.
Yeah.
as we go as we go along, and we'll do some more fun stuff too. Okay, so let me open this up and get this open. My questions from Peih-Gee. This is a question from Edward Morris. What is War Dog like in person?
Oh, I did meet him.
Yes, there was a big Los Angeles viewing party recently.
Yeah.
So you were in the picture.
Yeah, and it was funny because I had kind of had, I'd had a few words for him on Twitter.
Oh yeah, why? You were fighting with him?
I mean, a little bit.
A little bit. Over what?
It was just, I don't know if I really want to get
Okay,
into
all right.
it, but it was the whole, there was the whole joke between him and Gabby and Hannah.
Yeah, and blocking everybody. Right.
And and it seemed like it was kind of a joke that he maybe took too seriously. And this, of course, like, I love these ladies. I'm going to back them up over someone that I don't know that's going to come into the thing.
I love them too. Those are great podcast guests.
And then I think what really did it for me was there was some comment, and then, like, I don't know, like, Wendell somehow got dragged into it, and he had made a comment to Wendell that was like, you know what, I made my decision and you can make yours. And I don't know, I was like, sounds like an easy decision to me. And he's like, you know what, nobody asked you. Like, he's like, why you got to chime in? Like, nice not meeting you. And I'm like, I'm gonna stop now.
Yes. Okay.
But anyway, I met him. He was super cool in person, actually. I really like him, so, and I thought he was really charismatic and had a lot of good energy. So I kind of understand why people followed him and voted with him.
Do you get in a lot of Twitter drama with people?
Not a lot.
Not often.
Not a lot of people.
Often.
Just a few select people.
Yes. Is it more often the reality alumni?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Well, it could be the fans.
Oh no, I don't really get into it with the fans too much. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think that's a losing battle.
There's no point. I mean, and people try to rile you up too, and I either ignore it or I'll give you'll see, like when people give like someone asked me when on Twitter, they were like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about Abby's bracelet and blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what? There's not even a number invented that could describe how I feel about this situation. Like,
well, yeah,
you can take it either way.
I have your Twitter open, and then you had retweeted Natalie Cole. And let me see if I can find that tweet, because, yes, I thought it was very interesting. I was trying to follow what Natalie was saying. Natalie Cole tweeted out the other day, I binged on Game of Thrones today to refresh, and I'm so excited about tonight at Game of Thrones. And Angelina Cardona, who has fans that are just still bashing me on my social media just yesterday on not giving her my jacket. Was I wrong? Would you have given her the jacket? Wait, what did this have to do with Game of Thrones? Like, we went like mid-thought about Game of Thrones to then talking about the Angelina and the jacket. I binged on Game of Thrones today to refresh, and I am so excited about tonight at Game of Thrones. And Angelina, who has fans that are still bashing me on social media yesterday on not giving her the jacket.
That's literally the transition. She didn't make any reference to...
You can read it. I binged on Game of Thrones today to refresh, and I'm so excited about tonight at Game of Thrones. And Angelina Cardona, who has the fans that are bashing me on my social media for not giving the jacket.
I almost took it as, like, I'm going to watch with her tonight.
Maybe.
Like, I'm watching it tonight with Angelina, who, by the way, has fans that are still bashing me.
I don't know. I don't know. So you had tweeted and you responded to that you still get crap about the bracelet 3 years later, so don't expect it to stop anytime soon.
Never. That's I feel like that's the first thing that people come at me with is
that's your thing now?
The brace. Yeah, yes. Apparently that's the thing.
That's your new thing. Okay. What was your thing before the bracelet?
God, we didn't really have social media
back and that was better. And that was better.
A little bit.
That was a little bit better. Okay.
There weren't memes, but we didn't have memes in 2007.
Okay. All right. So so you met War Dog in person, and he was great.
He was totally cool, totally chill. Charismatic guy, of course. I think everybody who gets cast on Survivor is actually pretty charismatic. So yeah, I thought he was great.
Okay. This is a question from Heidi Hebron Marshall wants to know, would you eat coconut soaked in coffee? Is that a halfway a decent consolation snack for not winning the reward, or is that the kind of thing that would only be good on Survivor? So the people that didn't win the challenge, they went back to camp, and they were a little sulky about not going on the reward, and that not anything that you would know about, right?
I'm not familiar at all with not going on rules.
Yes, and so they came up and they said, "Hey, we are going to, just gorge on all the rice."
Yes, that's what you do. When everyone's on reward, you go back and you eat all the rice, you drink all, you just use up all the supplies there to comfort yourself with.
In my first season, then, so there was like a reward, like early on in the merge, and that Dave and Dina, I don't know if you have any idea who these people are, that they went on the reward, and then they came back, and then we had like made like rice and stuff, and then Dina then like said like, oh, is there leftover, right? And Jenna Maraska got so mad that she went on a reward and then she came back and is eating our food.
Oh man,
that's a faux pas. That's a faux pas.
Yeah, and not only did you not bring any back for us, because that's also
it was ice cream. I think it was hard to.
Well, still, but people came back. I remember in China, people came back with chocolate on their hands.
Yes.
Like the producers were like, you can't bring them cake, but whatever's on you,
yes,
you can share that. And they came back like,
want to lick our hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing. We've had people like they like snuck things like little nuts or can't, you know what I mean? So that's like an etiquette. Like you try to bring something back. You try
to, but yeah, don't eat the leftover rice. Have you ever heard of that on Survivor? Coconut soaked in coffee. It seems like a waste of the coffee.
The first, you know what? And it was Victoria that said it. I was like, last night when I was watching, I'm like, that's a millennial thing. Like, coffee and like coconut everything. I was like, well, how does that sound like a treat? Let's soak the coconut in coffee.
No, it does not sound that. I mean, it sounds okay. I mean, sometimes I'll put some coconut oil in my coffee.
You know what? I was just thinking, I do that.
Yeah, I'll do that,
it's pretty good.
It's fine, but I wouldn't say it's delicious.
Well, maybe they just have the coffee and there's no sweet. Maybe it's just like black coffee, so maybe it's kind of sweet.
I guess so, but she wants to soak the coconut in coffee, not soak the coffee in coconut.
Well, I think when you're out there, there's such little spices and flavors that you try to come up with combinations, or another trick is to the texture. That's why they roast the coconut.
Yes, yes, you can toast it, and that's
variety.
What you do for fun on Survivor.
Yeah.
Okay, are you a rice Nazi?
I am Asian.
Yes.
So we take our rice very seriously.
Okay, but what about the portions?
And portioning it out.
Yes, that Ron said Aurora was she's like a rice Nazi.
So was the argument that she thought they should be eating less and he wanted more?
Yes, he was like, hey, let's make all the rice. And she's like, hey, Ron, cut it out. We can only eat this much per day because we're going to run out.
Yeah. If anything, I think it's almost a good sign for her that he wants to eat more, because do you ever get this feeling where like, if you know that you're voting out that person, you try to not give them as much food.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I feel like I'm like, ooh, people are trying to keep food from me. Does that mean like they're trying to vote me out, and so like I need to be more aware?
Yeah, that's smart. I don't know about that one. That's a good thing to think about.
I remember I used to be a little bit resentful of like, I'm like, I know we're voting this person out, and I would be so resentful that they're eating my food.
Well, that's a good move where it's like hey, let's eat after tribal council tonight, because then there'll be one less person here.
Exactly. I'm like, you're gonna go home and eat cheeseburgers. Stop eating my rice. Like,
yeah. And then that'd be good. Like, no, I think we should eat now. Like, Trust me, you're fine. You're gonna eat tonight.
Well, you know what I don't get too is like, and I don't think anyone else since me has maybe made this, but I make congee out there.
What's congee?
Congee is a rice porridge.
Okay, how do you make that?
You just cook the rice with more water, and it's like oatmeal. So the rice kind of breaks down in the soup.
Yes.
And it's just like this really, really kind of soupy rice. It's like oatmeal almost, and it's like warm and comforting. I feel like you get a little bit more mileage out of the rice by doing that. And then like you could do things like you can throw like bits of like I would boil the chicken bones and use that broth to make it, or like whatever clams you have.
The problem is that nobody can agree on what they want to do with the rice.
I would always pull the Asian card.
Like, hey, trust me, I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing with this rice.
Yeah.
Like you guys will like, and everyone always like on Cambodia. Everyone let me make the congee all the time. Like,
okay, that's good. What congee?
Congee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we bring in some of these tweets that you have also?
Okay.
All right. And let me give you one more while you're trying to look at this. Carrie Gravelin says, the people on the edge appear to have it rougher. They're much dirtier and have no possible to win food at a reward challenge, but they don't have to strategize as much while they're there. What do you think is harder, surviving the conditions or then having to play the game?
Playing the game.
Playing the game is more emotionally taxing.
Excuse me. Yes, it's emotionally taxing. It's not like the conditions are that much better. They're a little bit, sure, they're a little bit better.
I just think that the boredom of the Edge of Extinction would wear on you. Where
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
okay, we have challenge today, we have tribal. That I feel like that the game, like I think in some ways, like gives you life. Where it's like, all right, what are we doing? How am I keeping myself safe? And then so like there's like adrenaline that comes with that. In that at least in term for me, where that on the Edge of Extinction, the nothingness of I guess they have to go to tribal council every 3 days.
That's true. I think that's pretty bad. But in some ways, I almost felt like sometimes there wasn't enough time for everything. But granted, that's also because like my time on Cambodia, it was like I was really on only early when there's so many people and you constantly, I felt overwhelmed with like, I'm trying to talk to everybody, all 10 people on this tribe, and I'm trying to find time to look for a hidden idol and get food and, all the things that it takes to just live. Like I always felt like there was not enough time for all of that. So I think it seems easier on Edge, but again, I think that's because I like that survival part and I can always find a way to stay occupied. Like I'm good with, games and like entertaining myself in that way.
Okay. Peih-Gee, what do you have from Twitter?
All right. Let me see here. I'll have to reply to this one because it's a friend of mine that has recently gotten into Survivor. From Patrick Lenahan says, I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10 how cool you think it's going to be when Real Dave Wright comes back from the Edge of Extinction and wins Sole Survivor.
Okay.
I would be all for that. Of course, I'm going to root for a returnee. I'm a little biased.
Yes.
So, and I'm friends with David. So I think 10. 10, I think. I think
a 10 out of 10. Cool. How would you have handled this type of situation where you come back and you're playing with first-time players?
I don't like the format at all. I've never been a fan of anything where it's newbies versus returnees. Like I think it's just unfair to both sides. I think I could have done all right. Like. I think it puts you in a really tough position, especially when it's not the first time. Like people are more savvy now and like they're like, well, we know that we don't have to fawn over you and be in awe because they've seen also in the past seasons, every time there's a returnee season, returnee goes really deep, and you watch it and you eventually they learn it's kind of dumb to let them go that deep. Like they will, they will win. So I think it gets harder and harder to be a returnee.
Right. I do think, it was a tough spot for these returning players because in the past, in a lot of these returnee seasons, that there were a lot of recruits that were on those seasons that, when we look at Survivor 22, Survivor 23, even less so Survivor 25. But I feel like that in terms of like the casting that went on, I do think that the cycles of 22, 23, 24, and look, we got some good people out of that, but I think that was kind of like the absolute nadir of Survivor casting, where I think that Survivor One World in particular was where they said, okay, let's blow this whole thing up in terms of how we're looking at people because we have so many recruits that are coming in. They don't know what they're doing, and we need to start casting more fans on the show. And then you still have, Survivor fans versus favorites where, a lot of the people that weren't even actually fans. But I do think that the people that are playing now, the first time players, I think Survivor really does want people to have that knowledge base. I think there's very few people that come into Survivor at this point in time and have no idea what they're doing.
They all seem like fans for the most part.
Yeah. I think if we were going to take a look at from this group of people who knows the show the least, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that I can circle that's somebody who seems like that they are almost like a complete newcomer to the show.
I feel like the two people who quit, maybe.
I mean, I think that Keith is a big fan, and Wendy, I think, is enough of a fan. So it's very rare, I think, on Survivor at this point in time to get somebody that comes into the show. It's like, that I'm a complete recruit. I have no idea. I barely know what it is. I watched a season on the plane.
I mean, my first season, I think a lot of people were recruits.
Yeah.
Like either recruits or maybe hadn't watched a lot, but just kind of just watched a few episodes and then was like,
I get it.
Cool
I
to
get it.
On.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me see.
Here, let me ask you this one. Patricia Riley wants to know, what are your thoughts about Devin's dismissing Lauren and Julie as not playing the game? And this was sort of born out of the conversation that happened earlier in the episode of like, hey, we are the players in the game, and then the other people, those are the goats, and we need to work together because it's us versus the goats.
I mean, I think he's got a pretty good read on the situation, and I think that the edit supports him saying that these women haven't really done anything to make a move on their own. They've mostly been relying on the people they're aligned with, Yeah, he would be smart actually to maybe not. I see. This is where I think it's smart of him to pull in those two guys that he thinks are threats, but he would be smarter to maybe try to work on someone like Lauren. I don't know what their relationship. I don't think he has a very good relationship with Lauren.
So I think that there was wisdom in what they were trying to do, but I think that they really handled it poorly because I think that the way that they handled their business, I think sort of made the other side really start to converge together, where I don't know if those people were necessarily all against them going into this round of voting. And then by the end of it, the way they handled their business, they were all against them. And I really love the idea of a Survivor player because I feel like if I was out there, I think I would think that I be somebody that people would consider to be, a threat. And I would do whatever I could to keep the other people who I thought were threats in the game. But I think that when you let one side know that, okay, we're all the threats and we're working together, I think that then those were all the people that voted against that group in this round of voting.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm just trying to think of who else. He probably didn't have a good relationship with Lauren because of Kelly. And who else could he have gone to? Like Gavin and Victoria. But he was obviously very close to War Dog, and Gavin had just gotten into a big blowout with War Dog, so maybe that avenue was cut off from him.
Well, I don't know why that he didn't either try to go after Gavin for this round of voting, where it was all the people that voted out Kelly. Why not keep those people together and then try to, see if you could bring in Julie potentially and see, is there somebody like a Gavin or Lauren that you could go after, or somebody else who was another Kelly ally, that the people, if 5 people voted against Kelly last time, would those 5 people vote against another Kelly ally this time?
Who else would he have turned the vote on to? I guess Aurora, right?
Well, Aurora was somebody that voted with him at the last round. So there's only 8 people left in the game. So it was sort of like that he was, I think, really trying to thread the needle to go after then Aurora.
Yeah, I mean, he could have...
Or if he was going to go after Aurora, I think he really needed to do better damage control with Lauren and Gavin. And say, like, okay, so I had to vote on Kelly this time around, but that it was not against you guys. It was only against Kelly. Let's get back on the right page and let's vote out Aurora this time. But instead, he did that with Julie, but not as far as what we saw with Lauren and Gavin enough.
Yeah, well, and he couldn't close the deal with, because I really think that like Julie votes pretty much however Ron tells her to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he couldn't seal the deal with Ron, so that cost him those two votes there.
Or he couldn't seal the deal with Julie, and then Ron ultimately voted with that other side.
Yeah.
So one or the other. But in terms of the Devins thing at the reward, he was like, Devins was like, well, Julie and Lauren, they're not really playing the game. They're, and I think that he bought too much into that, okay, this narrative of, okay, that they're the GOATs. And maybe that's the case. Maybe they don't have the votes to win, but it doesn't mean they're not playing.
No, it doesn't. Like, I think
it doesn't mean they're not self-interested.
Him and War Dog were too busy slathering mud on each other and gloating over what threats they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, we are our games are being played real hard, War Dog.
I love that scene. I feel like in every other reward where you see the players going to some kind of spa, you usually see these chicks. It's always like the girls and the guys. They're rubbing each other up, and like the girls are they're using their feminine wiles. Oh, do you need your back done? Like, let me come get your back for you. Like,
No, this was a bone for the ladies. War Dog and Rick Devins rub down.
He was like, "You want me to get your back, dude?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, bro." Like,
he said, "This is heaven." Putting the mud on War Dog.
I respect the ladies for having a little self-respect there.
There you go. Okay, what else from Twitter?
All right. At Tarvold's Quest says, why do you think both returning women got voted out with their idols in pocket still? Was it bad luck, hubris, or did the edge of extinction give them a subconscious mental safety net of not really being out of the game? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Do you have any thoughts on Aubrey and Kelly getting blindsided with the idol?
It's so messed up that like we had two female players find idols and then neither one of them used.
We've had three find idols, but two have gone home with them.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't. It's such a hard thing to know when to play your idol. I think especially when someone like Kelly, who has every tribal, she probably thinks I'm going to be voted out, and she's gotten by.
But she's so good at finding the idols too. I don't know why she was so conservative with these idol plays.
Yeah, I mean,
I've said this for years on the podcast that I would rather play it at the wrong spot,
yes,
and make that mistake than go home with it.
Yeah, you play. I mean, and look, like David played his, got it wrong, went home the next episode. Guess what? It's one more episode that you got on, like, yeah, you don't want to feel like.
And I get it. It's not necessarily the play to win move where, you're swinging for the fences. But I mean, Kelly's so good at finding the idols. She knows Lauren has an idol too. So
you still got to get there.
It's like if she played her idol and was wrong, and then at the next vote, she's like, I know it's going to be me. Lauren, play your idol on me. I think she would have done it.
Yes. I think Lauren definitely would have done it.
And I really think that Kelly was skating on thin ice a couple times in this post-merge where the vote where Joe went home, they were blindsided on that vote. They could have, that by the grace of Ron switching the vote to Joe, Kelly could have been the first person voted out at the merge with an idol in her pocket. Yeah. So she was, very fast and loose with, or she should have been more fast and loose with playing her idol, and she was living dangerously.
Well, I wonder if she got a little bit complacent thinking like, well, I have skated by this so far and I've trusted my gut and you know what I mean? And then you think this time it feels right also to not play it. So it's.
And I do think that you talk yourself into like, well, I'm just being paranoid.
Yes, that's a huge part. And then like, when Aubrey got voted out, I think Victoria was such a good actress. Like, she was so good. I mean, and you could see, like, I forget who it was, but there was another player where Aubrey was kind of feeling him out. And that player was, like, couldn't even look her in the eye. Was just like, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Eric.
Was it?
Or Big Wendy.
Yeah. It was Big Wendy, you know. But Victoria was like, yeah, it's us. It's, I mean, she was, I think it's less about them. And it's maybe, like, I'll give props to Victoria for really being convincing. Like, okay. Yeah. Let me see here. This one says from Game Boy Guru 69. Could Lauren pull a Michelle Fitzgerald here? Michelle lost her closest ally in Julia and won some immunities and played hard the last part of the game. Lauren lost Kelly, has an idol. She's great at challenges. Could she beat anyone in a final 3?
Okay. That's hard to say because we haven't seen, like, if we were talking about Michelle Fitzgerald at this point in the game, I think we would say no. But then Michelle Fitzgerald sort of got hot at the end of
A
the
little
game.
momentum.
Get a little momentum. Wins a couple of challenges. Makes some big speeches in front of the jury. So I do think that Kelly on the edge of extinction, I think, could be a big point in her favor, like rallying votes for her.
Yes.
So I think that is a reason why I think that she's sort of like that. For Kelly, that the closest thing to her winning would be Lauren winning. So I think that she would really like I think she could get Joe to vote with her. I think that she could get maybe Aubrey, some other people that are on the edge of extinction to vote along with her for Lauren. And
she hasn't offended anyone, really.
Yes, she hasn't offended anybody. She has
an idol still.
She has an idol. I think she could sort of claim the War Dog move. I think at least the edit just made it seem like that she was probably the person that I think that they wanted you to feel like had the most agency in the War Dog edit or vote out. So I think that she has a shot. I probably wouldn't have her in my top 3 people to win the season, but I think she's in the mix.
Yeah. Let me see here. What else?
Okay, this is a question from Brady on Facebook. If Ron and Devins are the front runners, who's this season's dark horse?
The dark horse, I think. I want to say Aurora. I think she seems like she's really been struggling for everything. She's been getting by on the challenges. Her name gets brought up at every tribal. Her name's always written down. So I feel like if she makes it to the end, she might be able to make a pretty convincing argument. I won some challenges. My name's been written down. I'm still here. Like I didn't have a ton of allies, but somehow I worked the cracks and, that's my pick. I just
still has an extra vote.
Oh, that's right. She still has the extra vote. Can she only use it up to a certain point?
Probably 5.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's usually when the advantages all expire.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think about next week? I don't like to talk too much about the previews because they can throw us off. But we saw Ron Clark take his expired advantage menu and give it to Rick Devins.
And it doesn't say on there that it's expired.
He said he ripped that off in a secret scene earlier this season.
Oh, that's really tricky.
Yeah, he's a tricky guy.
Wow, so devious. Oh my goodness. So Rick will think he's safe, and that'll be interesting to watch. But it could really blow up in his face too. Like when they go and they're like, "Well, can't use this. Sorry, buddy."
Yeah. Well, it looks like then in the preview also that somebody's going through his bag, and I wonder if old Ron Clark says like, "Hey guys, I think Rick Devins has an advantage. You should go through his bag." He told Julia to go through her bag earlier in the season, so maybe that's one of his things. He's very sneaky.
He's good. Like I think if Ron gets to the end, he would win. I think he has a good shot at winning.
I think that I have not agreed with all of his moves, but I think he's been entertaining at every turn.
Very entertaining.
Yes.
Like at times, like I'm like, stop being so power hungry. It's driving me crazy. And other times, like he's like not like the crazy aggressive drunk.
Yeah, but that's what I want from my Survivor players. I want them to be crazy power hungry. That makes a good season.
It does make a good season. It does. No, I think he's very good, and I would be very happy with. I would be very satisfied with Ron winning. I think he's got a very good hold on the social pulse of things. Like he's very, very good socially, and decent strategically as well. Like yeah.
Okay, Peih-Gee. I've heard a rumor that you have a game for us today.
I did. I prepared a game.
All right. Well, we know that you are a big gamer. You love video games, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The works. Okay. So let's talk about what you've brought with us. I'm so excited that it's very few and far between has a guest ever brought a game for me to play on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. I can't think of another time when that's happened.
Well, we played a game on the last time I was on.
Yes, but it wasn't a game that you invented.
Well, I can't take credit for inventing this.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us about what you brought. You were starting to tell me before we came in here. I said, no, tell me on the podcast. I prefer that.
So we played Heads Up last time, and this is kind of similar to Heads Up.
Okay.
Where basically so I've written a bunch of Survivor-themed words or people or whatever on here. It's based off of a game called Celebrity. Okay. And so the way Celebrity works is there's usually 3 rounds. We're only going to do 2 of them because the third round is charades, and we can't do that on a podcast.
Right.
But so basically, I am going to hold up a word, and you have to describe the word using as many words as you want to. So I will guess the word that's on the little card. Okay.
Yes. Would it be better because did you write these cards?
I wrote these.
Okay, so you know what they are.
We can take turns. No, we'll take turns. So we'll go like maybe 30 seconds at a time, and then we'll stop. So basically, I think it'll go through pretty fast. It looks like a big stack, but we'll go through them relatively fast.
All right. So so am I giving or receiving first?
You can describe, and I will try to guess. So I'll just finish describing. Once we've gotten through this, now you and I will both know every word that's in the pack, right? There's a second round here.
Okay.
And the second round is you can only use 2 words for them to guess it.
Okay. All right. I'll follow your lead. I'm still a little confused, but that's nothing new.
Okay. Well, then why don't you hold up the words and I will get you to guess it.
Okay.
You can just start from the pack. And do you have a timer? Can we set a timer for 30 seconds or?
That we have I have an iPhone. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So okay, here we go. All right. This is set up my timer here and open up this app. Cancel 30. Oh, that's 30 minutes. 30 seconds on the clock. Okay. All right. And okay, when I say go, I'll hold up the first thing. All right?
Yeah, just go through.
All right, on my mark, get set, go. Okay, picking up the first thing. Okay.
Oh, this is what you light, and Jeff will put this out.
Torch.
Yeah.
Okay.
You use this to make fire. They give it to you at the camp.
Flint?
Yes.
Okay, I have to hold it up this way. Okay.
Okay. She was Kelly Wentworth's biggest ally.
Lauren.
Yes. Oh, this is what you. Oh my God! This is when you win a challenge. Jeff gives you this.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we did not go through very many, and I feel like there's a really big stack here.
All right. Maybe we should have 60 seconds on the clock.
All right.
Okay. All right. You want me to describe to you?
Or yeah. So I guess I'm gonna hold.
Okay. All right. Let's put 60 seconds on the clock here. Okay.
Okay. You gotta let me know if I'm holding them the right way. If they're upside. Okay. I think that's the right way. Okay.
All right. So here we go. Okay. On your mark, get set, go. Okay. This is a person who drives a tuk-tuk.
Keith.
Yes. Okay. This is a person that he's a bald guy who writes on TV.
David Wright.
Okay. This is somebody who got voted out last night.
A war dog.
Yes. This is a guy who's a news anchor.
Devins.
Yes. This is something that Reem will exclaim on the edge of extinction.
Screw you?
Dude, this is...
lame.
Okay. This is Ron Clark wants everybody to just play for the...
family visit.
Yes. That's blank. Okay. Damn.
Chicken.
Okay. That she doesn't get any airtime, and she's on the edge of extinction.
Aubrey.
Julia.
Julia.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're through round 1.
Well. Okay. We can stop there. Is that? Do you want to?
Well, it's up to you. Okay,
there's a lot. Okay. I feel like I feel bad. Like I feel like we should at least get.
Okay. Let's go. Okay. Let's go one more time. Okay. So now, I didn't keep score.
Oh,
okay.
I just.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm winning. That's all you need to know.
Okay. So you're winning.
I did get twice as much time as you did.
Okay. All right. So I'll put 60 seconds back on the clock.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if we can get this again. I'm not sure if this is playing for the people on the audio podcast, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all they care about. Okay.
Well, they can still play along. They don't have to,
Sure. Okay. All right. here we go. 60 seconds back on the clock, and go.
He's a teacher.
Ron Clark.
Yes. This is when you win a challenge, this is what you put around your
Immunity necklace.
Yes. This is where you go to vote someone out.
Tribal council.
Yes. This is where you go after you're voted out when you're waiting to get back on.
The edge of extinction.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I think I have 2 in my hand.
This is what Jeff says when you are voted out.
The tribe has spoken.
Yes. This is what we don't have anymore now that we have edge of extinction.
Ponderosa.
Yes. This is what Ron says instead of the color yellow.
Yala.
He was voted out. He's on edge of extinction. I think
Joe, Eric.
Bryce is really into
Chris Underwood.
Uh-huh.
See, you knew that, even though you hadn't been following along with the show all season.
Tyler gave me some
Okay,
cheat sheets.
He gave you some notes. Yes, okay, that is one heavy snake. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, back to you, Peih-Gee.
Do you want to move on to round 2? Is this?
I think let's even it out. Let's even it out. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. 60 seconds back on the clock and go. Okay. Kelly.
Wentworth.
Okay. This is the stuff that Aurora is a blank Nazi.
Rice.
Yes. Okay. This is what Rick Devens exclaimed when he won immunity.
La Cheesery.
Yes. Okay. This is what Keith says when he needs some help from a higher power.
Come on, God.
Yes. This is what Jeff says when somebody has to grab their torch at tribal council.
Come on in, guys.
No, pick up your torch because it represents.
Oh, fire is life.
Yes. This is the guy who is a firefighter that nobody really knows about. That was the second.
Eric.
Yes.
So hot.
Yes. Okay. This is something that helps you that you might find, not a hidden immunity idol, but
advantage.
Yes. Your favorite. Okay. Aurora.
Oh.
Sorry, there's only 1 second left. All right. So explain to me how round 2 is going to work.
So basically, we won't use the ones that we haven't gotten to. But it's basically all the ones that we've already.
Hold on. You're moving away from your microphone.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's all the clues that we've done. So now you and I both know what the words are.
What's in there?
So
okay. Okay.
We can only use 2 words to describe the word now.
Okay.
So it gets a little trickier.
All right. So only 2 words can be used, and these are all the clues that you've already heard.
Yeah. So we do kind of know what's. I'm just going to shuffle them a little bit.
Okay.
So,
shuffle them up.
So it helps that you kind of it's difficult, but since you know what's in there, and it's the first 2 words that come to your mind, you can't take it. No take backs. Okay.
Okay. Only get 2 words here. Okay.
All right. So do you want to start and I'll describe?
Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, I dropped one. Okay.
It's all right.
All right. That's fine. 60 seconds back on the clock. 2 words only here for Peih-Gee Law. Okay. Here we go. Even your own name, would that count as 3 words? It's a hyphen, so I guess it's 2.
It won't count as a name.
All right.
That's
all right.
fine.
Here we go. All right.
Win challenge.
Immunity. Win challenge. Pass.
It was immunity necklace.
Oh, okay.
Teaches school.
Ron Clark.
Yeah. Big package.
Chris Underwood.
Ron's color.
Yala.
No Ponderosa.
Edge of extinction.
Yeah. No edge.
Ponderosa.
Yes. Damn.
Chicken.
Yeah. That was only one word.
One word. Get double points for that one. Okay. All right. And now back to you. Okay.
It's a lot harder than you think it is. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay. All right.
All right. I think
One last round here. Okay.
All right. Is this right side? Is this right side?
Okay, that's right. Okay, so 60 seconds on the clock, and let's. Reunited guests.
Family visit.
Yes.
Nice.
Reem speaks.
Lame.
Devins wins.
Devins wins. Challenges? Immunity idol?
Let's pass.
Pass.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Survivors eat.
Pizza? A mountain of pizza. Survivors eat merge feast.
Survivors eat.
Chicken. No. Pass. Oh.
Rice.
Damn.
Rice.
Damn.
Okay. Blank McCreary.
Oh, geez. That was the worst.
That's the worst?
The worst clue.
That was the worst clue?
I don't know their last name.
Probably not fair. Okay. All right. There you go. All right.
That was...
Peih-Gee is the winner. Peih-Gee is the winner. Okay. Peih-Gee. Let's see. What else is going on in your world? Let's see. You posted the picture of a younger Peih-Gee who was very like a what is it, how old are you in this picture that you posted on 420?
17, 18.
17. Okay.
I am very offended that photo, a photo of me at 18 has gotten 5 times as many likes as any of my regular photos. I'm like,
Yes. Well, I think that you were promoting your 420 throwback.
And then it's the nostalgia factor. It's not because I'm like young and 18.
Mm-hmm.
I brought something for you.
What did you bring?
I brought something for you.
Okay.
What
do you have?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Okay.
So I have recently started painting. I took up like watercolors in December. I don't know. I have a lot of hobbies and this was just one of them. And I've been really enjoying it. So I made a painting for Max's birthday, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And a fan reached out to me.
Yes.
And he was like, I would like to commission you to paint one of my paintings.
Okay. To paint one of my paintings.
I would like to commission you. I would like to purchase one of your original watercolors. Okay. And his only thing was I wanted just some kind of Survivor theme.
Okay.
So I made the painting for him, and then I figured I'm coming out here to do your podcast, so I made a print for you.
Yes. Okay, hold on. So, all right, let me see if I can go in on this. So, can you explain what this is for the podcast listeners?
It is, so one of the only things that I'm good at painting so far are cacti.
Cactus.
Yeah,
yes.
I really like painting cactuses.
Okay.
And so this is a Survivor cactus.
Survivor cactus. Okay, what is the meaning of Survivor cactus?
Well, I just like, it's like the only thing I can paint.
Oh, okay.
So,
the cactus is wearing a necklace, has a torch.
He's got the immunity necklace. He's got a torch. He's got a buff.
Yes. So the person that paid you $150, they got the original version of this, right?
Yeah.
And did they ask you for a Survivor cactus?
They just wanted Survivor theme.
It's okay. And you are gifting this to me?
This is a print.
Okay.
This print is for you.
And then can I put this? Can I hang this in the studio?
Of course, please. I have.
Okay.
So I brought this is the original one that it's not framed because I had to ship it out like. So this is the original.
Yes.
And that's a print. So what I will do is I will make prints available for purchase.
Okay.
If you guys want a Survivor cactus.
Will you sign them? They are signed by Peih-Gee Law?
I do have a signature there, and I'll send it also with, I have like little photos. I'll send it with a photo. If people want a print, I am also willing.
Where should I put this in the studio?
I think maybe like, I don't know. Where do you...
Let's see. We'll find a good spot for it. We'll find a good spot.
I think I should go here behind the camera. That's what I would be angling for.
Yes. Okay.
But I am open to commissions also if people are interested in something else.
If people want to commission you to do a painting for them.
So you can contact me on any of my social media. I will eventually put this up on my website, which
and no nude portraits, sickos. Okay.
unless they're plants. This plant is also plant is nude, but that's okay.
Right.
Yeah. So I will. I'll put things up on my website where you can also buy like that necklace that I have, and you can buy like a signed photo, all of that stuff, and I will put. You can do prints or originals.
Yeah. Have I asked you that? Will you do like a Abby Maria bracelet that people can buy of like, hey, no, that you too can get the Abby Maria bracelet that I lusted for so much.
And I stole it so I could replicate it.
And I've replicated. Now you too can own the Abby Maria bracelet.
I'm trying to let that one die.
Oh, okay. So. Will all of the pictures that you're going to commission, do they have to all be a cactus?
Well, maybe I'll paint the bracelet on the cactus.
On the cactus.
I will take a commission for that.
Yes. Okay. And Peih-Gee, what's next for you?
Oh my gosh, just really working on my hobbies and just the business, the jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Life is good.
And I know that we've gotten to see so many milestones for you in the time that you've been coming through. You've become a homeowner.
Yeah. Got the condo still. I've got I don't know, my cats. I feel like this is sounding very.
What?
I'm living in my condo with my cats.
Yeah, and painting.
And painting watercolors,
Mm-hmm.
no less.
Yes.
No, I'm very satisfied. I'm happy.
What's next in your travel plans?
Oh my goodness. We'll see. My brother's about to get married.
Okay.
So he is coming with his wife, which it's a little complicated. Like but we'll probably be traveling.
Coming to visit.
They're coming to visit.
Okay.
Well, she's a Japanese national, so they had to get married overseas, and then they will have an actual wedding.
Okay.
Here, so hopefully that will be the next adventure. It's funny because I've actually been having I really liked Europe, but I realized that I don't love these kind of city vacations. I would rather be somewhere tropical, and I would rather be on the edge of extinction. I want to go somewhere and camp and.
Okay, so when you go and travel, do you want to go someplace and you want to be by a beach, or you go on hiking, adventure, exploring?
I'm a diver, so I usually.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I do scuba.
Okay.
So I usually
And what do you go down there looking for? The fish?
Yeah, the fish. You just
or
go.
A cactus.
Spiny, And
There's no cactus in the ocean.
I was about to.
I know that.
Anything prickly.
Oh, okay. Watch out, everybody.
No, I do enjoy all of those where I can run around barefoot and be in a jungle and be wild. I think for me those are the best vacations.
Okay, and then Peih-Gee, the winner of the Edge of Extinction will be who?
Man, you're really putting me on the spot here.
We have to. We need people to. We need to have throw a dart.
Ron
Clark.
I think Ron Clark has been getting the most, the best winner's edit, I think, of most people out there.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a Rorschach this season. Everybody's seeing it very differently.
Who's your pick?
I think I would pick Rick out of all these people, but I don't understand how it would happen.
Rick is a good pick. He's gotten a pretty good edit also. I think it would be between them two.
I think that Julie is somebody that I've stayed on for a lot of the season.
Julie's not winning.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. I said Julie, and then people dismiss it outright. Just say no way, dude.
Julie's, I feel like, is a classic goat.
Goat. Oh, what are you, war dog?
Well, come on, she hasn't done anything on her own. I feel like it's always been her following. She's like Ron Soldier.
You could make a case that she was the person who got War Dog out last night.
I don't know if she. Yeah, but
we don't know. That's what's confusing.
That's why I don't know that I would give her the credit. I feel like if she finally broke out and it was really her vote, they would have given her that edit.
I don't know, Peih-Gee.
What really bothered me was her so blithely going along with Ron's blindsiding of her and not including her in the vote.
You didn't like that?
I don't like it. My paranoia would go off instantly. Like
You're a pilot, not a passenger.
She is a passenger. I don't think a passenger can win.
That's right. Okay.
Maybe a flight attendant.
Peih-Gee, and then are you gonna come to all the finale festivities?
I can only make it to the party the day before.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I never go to the party the day before.
I know. I got to fly out on that Wednesday for business trip.
Yeah, it's too much for me. I don't need 2 parties for the Survivor finale.
I'm always shocked when I see Ron out in the wild, like Rob.
Rob. But you'll be shocked if you see Ron Clark. No, look, that it's for me that two nights of partying is. I wasn't on the season. I don't need to party for 2 nights.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I know that. Look, if they had 3 nights of parties, all the Survivor alumni would be there too. But I just need 1 night.
Yeah. Well, so I'll miss you. You're gonna go obviously the night of the finale.
I will miss you, but then hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's also like I like to go out after the end of the season because it's like for me, I'm like a college student. It's like my finals are over.
Oh yeah, spring break time.
Spring break for me from all these podcasts. Okay, all right. If you want to follow Peih-Gee on social media, of course, that it's what a great Twitter handle. She's just simply at Peih-Gee. No underscores, no dashes. You're not getting involved with any of that.
It is spelled out, though. It's Peihgee.
Yes.
And it's the same for Twitter and Instagram.
A lot of people had written in and they wanted us to do some sort of a game of, could you give us like the PG-13 of the people? That is going to be the jury. But we didn't, other than to give us like who's PG rated this season, but we had a name for the game, but we didn't know what the game would be.
So you want to invent a game?
This happens a lot. Especially Randy Newpel sends in a lot of ideas of here's the name of the game, but we don't know what the game is.
Okay, so what's the name of the game?
The PG-13.
The PG-13. Is this like we're giving a prize?
No. I guess the PG-13 are okay. Here's the PG-13. Give me the 13 people that are on the jury. Okay, so the simpler way to do this is who's the final 3?
The final 3.
Yes, and then by proxy we will know the PG-13.
Oh, I see. So
assuming nobody else raises the mast.
I think it'll be
raises the flag on the mast.
I will say Ron, because I think Ron has a good chance to win. Final 3. Ron, I feel like Lauren has a good chance of getting to the end.
Okay, Ron, Lauren, and...
Well, I want to say, I want to save the 3rd place for whoever comes back from Edge of Extinction. I feel like if you come back from the Edge, you might have a good chance of getting to the end.
I think the person that comes back from the Edge could win.
Yeah, but with this final 3.
Yeah, but you think Ron's going to win.
Well, we don't know who's coming back. Also,
right? I think that whoever comes back, I think has a really good shot to win.
That's true. I think if you come back and you make it into the
Ron
final 3,
needs to come back from the Edge of Extinction.
Yeah, or just he needs to vote out whoever comes back right away.
And then we'll have the PG-13 jury.
We'll be all
dude. This jury is gonna be rated R because when I get through with these effing people. They're going to have to move the time slot. Thank God that the tribal council's in the 10 o'clock hour.
Are we at a 13-person jury?
It will be if nobody ends up quitting or raising the mast or raising the flag. That's like double the
number that we've had from Classic Survivor.
Your season was 7-person jury, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7-person jury and a final 3. Yeah.
How do you feel about this massive bloated jury?
What? I mean, I'm okay with it. We'll see.
I guess it doesn't really make a difference how many people there are.
I mean, I think it makes a difference.
There's a lot of people that you haven't had any interaction with.
Reem got voted out on day 3.
I know. How is that?
Dude, I never met you. Why should I even vote for you? I don't know you.
I feel like now tribal council has become. I think it changes the dynamic of tribal, where people maybe have to be a little bit more honest about what they're doing. And how they feel.
think it speaks to that you have to be bigger at tribal council. If you were like what does Reem know about Victoria?
Nothing. She's just sitting there and not.
You
mugging.
seem nice.
just been mugging to everybody, like, you know.
I don't even like that hat, though. That hat looks wet. I'm going to go I need to dry that hat out. Okay. All right, Peih-Gee. Well, I really appreciate it when you come out here to see me. I really appreciate you bringing a present.
It's fun every time.
Yes. Okay. What should I give you? What did I give you? Did I give you a buff last time?
I think you, yeah, and I think
Did I give you coffee mugs?
I want a mug. I think
Okay.
you gave me a mug and then I left it.
Okay. All right. I'll give you whatever RHAP stuff that I have. You want a kid?
Oh, yes, I'll take one of those.
Okay, take one of those as well. And then, okay, we are going to then set up tomorrow. I'll be back right here with Nick Majorano, the Mayo Jar.
The Mayo Jar.
Are you a fan of the Mayo Jar?
I think he's very entertaining.
He's very, yeah. One of my favorite people to have over. And we'll talk with him, and maybe we'll have some surprises with the Mayo Jar.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And then I will talk with AJ Mass over the weekend. I have another podcast called Rob and Akiva Need a Podcast, Peih-Gee, where we spin a wheel of podcast ideas. So we have a wheel that's online, and the listeners write in ideas for episodes, and we put them on the wheel, and then every week we spin the wheel, and then we have to do what comes up.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
What have been some past ones?
Oh, we've done. Now you put me on the spot. So I have a fishbowl here of season 3, episode 7. That's a big one of different shows. Do you see a fishbowl? Is there a fishbowl full of ping pong balls beneath? Yeah, that's part of it. And most recently, we learned Millennial Boot Camp. We learned a bunch of millennial words that people are saying.
Is this Survivor related?
No,
it's just random.
Not. This is not Survivor related. Yeah. Look, I gotta diversify my portfolio, Peih-Gee. I don't know what's going on over at CBS these days. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So that's coming up this weekend. We have total idea request live. We're going to let listeners call in and pitch us ideas.
All right.
They've only got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on.
Can you have them pitch ideas of things for me to paint?
Yes.
And I will try to paint them.
That could be an episode. If you could come back, we could do a whole think tank of what should Peih-Gee paint next. And then we'd have the painting.
I will do that. I'm like, you should get the patrons to get together and like vote on what they want me to paint, and if they pay me, then I will paint it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, some sort of like a painting auction.
Yes.
Okay.
That's something utterly ridiculous, and I get to put my own spin. But you can be like, I want the bracelet in there, I want this in there, whatever.
Okay. All right. And then of course I'll have the Wiggle Room with our friend Josh Wiggler on Monday as well. AJ Mass is going to be back for This Week in Survivor. So much going on. Of course, all of this would not be possible without the support of our patrons of Rob as a Podcast. To find out more about everything we're doing in our patron community, we had our big live show in Philadelphia last week.
I saw that. Looked like so much fun.
We had a really great time in Philadelphia. I would like to get another one going this fall if we can get one out here.
Yeah. When are you doing know-it-alls out here in LA?
I got to work it out with Fishback.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll recover from his shoulder surgery.
He's gonna be like part like robot.
Yes,
very
you'd
soon.
come out for that?
Of course.
Okay.
When you come
All
out,
right.
I live here.
Okay. All right. You're busy though. You're a busy travel schedule.
If I'm available,
If it
you
works,
know
if it
I
works out.
support you, of course. Of
Okay.
course.
All right, and we'll have an unveiling of your next painting on stage.
Oh God.
We'll have like a big sheet over it, and then we'll pull it down. Like what? What? Why does that cactus have no pants on? Okay. All right.
It's
So
Chris Underwood.
all right, Peih-Gee, great job. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre for putting this all together. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.